What is going on, my fellow geeks?
3 movies with elves and a guy with a white beard.
Not a lot of people accept it as canon.
2022 will be the year of Star Wars.
Well, I have more than just one piece of geek news.
I have been Isaac Hunter.
Which is like high culture, but better. What is going on, my fellow geeks, and welcome back to Raving Geeks, your weekly pop culture podcast from Central Michigan Life, where we discuss all things geek culture, which is like high culture, but better. If this is your first time joining us, make sure you follow the CM Life Instagram and Twitter pages for updates on the podcast, and look for us wherever you find your podcasts, including YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on our website at www.cm-life.com. My name is Brendan Valentine, and I'd like to thank you all for joining me and my fellow co-hosts this week, who introduce themselves this week in not our usual question of the week, but a game of the week. So, co-hosts, my quick question for you to preface the game is if you could quick introduce yourselves and just give us a little bit of background knowledge of how much you know about Star Wars.
All right. Hi, everyone. I am Hope Gooderl. Even though I have a Lego Star Wars background today, for those of you who are watching, it is Valentine's Day themed. We have Stormtrooper giving a female, I think, Stormtrooper a Valentine's Day card. But I haven't watched Star Wars in a while. I have minimal knowledge of Star Wars, just from like what I gather from all like the fan pages that I might follow and various chats that we've had. So,
And various pictures of Lego Stormtroopers.
yes.
Yes. Hello, I'm Isaac Hunter. I also have a Star Wars background featuring R2-D2 and the pink astromech droid R2-KT. And they're looking at each other. I know a decent bit about Star Wars. Not a huge amount. I'm not fully caught up on Clone Wars. But I enjoy it as a hobby. I enjoy learning about it. It's one of my favorite universes.
Oh, well, that will be perfect because today we are playing a game called, is this the name of a real Star Wars character or did I just make it up? So I'm going to give you the name of a Star Wars character or not, and then you're going to tell me if that's a real name of a Star Wars character or if I just made it up. Alrighty, so we are going to start. First one, we'll start off the one that some people might know, if it's a real name or not. We're going to start easy. They're not going to be ridiculous at the beginning, and then we'll get a little more ridiculous at the end. So, all right, we're going to start. Max Rebo.
Do you want to do like one of us and then the other one and then you?
Just what you think, if it's yes or no. Hope you can start since
I want Hope to start every time.
Okay.
Of course. I feel like it's not, but I also feel like I would say no, and it actually is a name. But I'm going with no. I'm going with no.
I'm gonna go with yes.
Isaac, you would be correct. It is yes. Max Rebo is
my blue elephant boy.
The little blue elephant boy that plays jizz music in the cantina.
And he has survived. He survived the Jabba's barge crashing because he is in, spoiler alert, Book of Boba Fett.
Spoiler alert for Book of Boba Fett. He didn't survive Book of Boba Fett.
He wasn't. It didn't show him in that building when it exploded. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, that's fair. All right, we're gonna try another one. All right, Chicks Revlar.
Chicks Revlar?
No.
No?
No. I'm going with no.
I'm gonna say no.
You are both correct. I made that one up. Alrighty. Next one. We've got Dud Bolt.
No.
I hope not, but just to mix it up, I'll say yes.
Isaac, you're correct. He's a pod racer from the first film.
Dud Bolt? I used to have a pod racing video game. Oh my gosh.
Dud Bolt. Yeah, no, I think his pod is the first one to blow up.
Is he the one with the, I don't know.
He's small like the other pod racers. But all right, next one. Pelimoto.
I say yes.
Pelimoto is definitely from something. I'm gonna say yes because I know that it's a real name of a character.
It is the mechanic that Mando visits on Tatooine and one of Grogu's best friends.
I just called her the mechanic. She's great.
I know. I also just call her the mechanic. That's why I threw her in there. Alrighty, next one. Coleman Trebor.
I'm gonna say no. Like, I feel like it's a character name, but I don't think it's Star Wars.
Okay.
I'll say no as well.
It is yes. He is the first casualty of the Clone War, being massacred by Count Dooku in the Battle of Geonosis. He's the dinosaur-looking dude that dies like that.
The guy with the fin?
Yes.
That's Coleman?
That's Coleman Trebor.
Oh.
All right. Next one. Darth Victivus. Actually, no, okay, I'm going to do this one. Oh, so there's two names, Darth Victivus and Darth Prolinitis. Which one of those is a real Sith and which one of those is a fake Sith?
What was the second one? Darth
So it's
what?
Darth Victivus and Darth Prolinitis.
Darth Victivus is the real name.
Darth Prolinitis sounds like something I might take for my back. But to mix it up a bit, I'll say Darth Prolinitis is the real one.
Darth Victivus is the correct Sith Lord. He's from Legends. He's not canon, but he exists. Alrighty. Next one. Elmo Nocturne.
No.
Elmo Nocturne? I'll say yes.
Hope is correct. That is not an actual Star Wars character.
Okay.
I made that one up. All right. Next one. Son North.
No.
Yes.
Hope is correct again. I made that one up.
I didn't think you'd do it 2 in a row.
Three in a row. What are you talking about? I've got Vader Victivus.
No, I didn't think that he'd have 2 fake people in a row.
Oh.
I know.
I gotta
figured,
mix it up. I had a
get,
list and then I randomized it.
You could get multiple in a row, Hope. I'm not attacking that.
So, alrighty. Next one. Elin Sleazebagano.
I'm gonna say yes.
Oh, Sleazebagano is real.
Oh yeah, Sleazebagano is real. He is the guy in Attack of the Clones when they go into that bar.
You want to buy some death sticks?
Yeah, you will go home and rethink your life. And then he goes home and rethinks his life.
Yes. Oh.
All right, this is our last one. All right, Biff Bath.
Yes.
You said Biff Bath?
Biff Bath.
Biff Bath.
With an F.
Both end in F's. Biff Bath.
I'll say yes.
No, I made that one up. But that does sound like the character in Star Wars, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. There's definitely a Biff somewhere, I'm sure.
Probably. I had to double check for all my fake ones that they weren't actually like real names or close to real names in Star Wars, and that was the one I was most worried about. So alrighty, well,
you'd throw out a Salacious Crumb.
Oh yeah, Salacious B. Crumb. Well, I knew you'd know that one. I figured you'd know Max Rebo as well, but alrighty. Well, thank you very much. Now to get things started, we like to share some quick geek news for the week. So, hosts, what have you got for us?
All right, I'll start. So, some geek news for the week. The great late Futurama TV show has just had a revival on Hulu, with almost all of the original cast members coming back, and I think a lot of the same writers. I love Futurama. It's one of my favorite animated TV shows. But I really liked the ending of it, so I'm a bit curious to see how this goes, as well as the voice actor for Bender, one of the main 3 characters, John DiMaggio, has not yet signed on, and they might even recast him. And that's causing a lot of fans to possibly boycott the show. So we got that going for us. As well, all the Marvel TV shows will be leaving Netflix in March of 2022. I'm assuming that they're probably going to go to Disney Plus. But
okay, was that confirmed? Because an article that I read said it's happening for like the rest of the world, but it's uncertain for the States.
Well, I don't know.
So I was confused on that one.
Let's let the audience figure that one out.
Basically, if you want to rewatch it or watch it in the first place, go do it now.
This is your chance to go watch Charlie Cox. And then lastly, the posters were revealed for some of the major players in the new Amazon Lord of the Rings Rings of Power TV series. And it looks pretty cool. I think so, at least. There has been a lot of flack, but I think that so far the costumes and the characters look really cool. So I'm excited to see where that goes.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Well, coming off the tails of the season finale of the Book of Boba Fett, I have a lot of Star Wars news. First things first, Bad Batch Season 2 has been confirmed to be coming out sometime in the spring of 2022. So expect it probably around the same time as we got it this past year with Season 1. So probably towards mid-end of May, which would be a weird time, seeing as we also got it confirmed that Kenobi will be coming out on May 25th, 2022. We got a reveal poster and everything, which is super exciting. It's not super complicated. It's just Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi walking on the sands of Tatooine. So it
He's
doesn't give too much
beautiful.
away, but it does look awesome. It looks sweet.
Oh.
I can't wait. With the way Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian have gone, I'm really excited for I know like Book of like Boba Fett isn't like quote unquote like character we've already seen on screen, but like not to the extent that we've seen Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I'm very excited for that. And also, Rupert Friend, who played Agent 47 in the live-action Hitman movie, is said to have been cast as the Grand Inquisitor in the Kenobi series, which
that's
would be
gonna be
really
cool.
exciting because if you don't know about the Inquisitorius, it's like Vader's little mob of like dark side Force users that he converted from the remnants of the Jedi to hunt down the rest of the Jedi. So if we get to see the Inquisitors, specifically the Grand Inquisitor, that would be very, very exciting because like Kenobi can take him no problem. So he'd be probably just like nothing more than a minor inconvenience, but it'd be cool to see him like on screen.
Yeah.
So very
Tracking
excited.
him down, I'm sure. Oh,
Oh,
it's gonna be
I'm so
cool.
excited. The show's gonna be so good. And also, if you haven't watched the finale for Book of Boba Fett, I feel like I know a lot of people were like a lot of original trilogy fans weren't loving the beginning of the show, but I feel like everyone can love the ending of the show, specifically that season finale. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have news on the front of the National Treasure TV series that is going to be coming to Disney Plus. Catherine Zeta-Jones has been added to the cast. She is going to be a leading series regular role. And she's going to be playing a character called Billy, who in Catherine Zeta-Jones's own words is a badass billionaire black market antiquities expert and treasure hunter who lives by her own code. She transformed herself from a penniless orphan to a shrewd, stylish businesswoman and adventurer. Billy is used to getting what she wants, and she wants the Pan-American treasure, but not just for the money. This treasure has deeper stakes for her. So I'm super excited for this, especially because the main character, who's played by Lizette Alexis, Jess, is a dreamer who embarks on the adventure of a lifetime to uncover the truth about her family's mysterious past and save a lost Pan-American treasure, the same one that Billy is after. So I'm super excited that it sounds like two badass females are going to be center screen, especially not white females. And I'm super excited because I love Catherine Zeta-Jones. I loved her in the Legend of Zorro movies, which was a long time ago, but like they are a classic. And if you haven't watched them, I'm going to recommend that right now. And then in the Marvel front, Anthony Ramos has landed a role in the Marvel's Ironheart. It's secret as of right now. And Anthony Ramos posted about it too, and he did not reveal anything. It's reported to be similar to how Jonathan Majors was introduced as Kang the Conqueror in Loki, where Anthony Ramos is expected to not only have a big role in the series, but future Marvel projects as well. So
he's going to be playing Anthony Stark, as in Tony Stark's brother, Anthony Ramos Stark.
There.
Half
I
brother.
mean, like Tony Stark's evil like brother is a comic book
Is a
thing. So,
character. I know.
also I knew that name rung a bell, but I had to Google it. I didn't know he did non-Broadway acting.
Yeah.
For those of
Yeah.
you who don't know, he played
He was in
Hamilton's son and
Best Friend.
Yeah.
and
Lawrence.
best friend as different characters in the musical Hamilton
And In the Heights.
Yes.
and in the
And-
Heights. Yes.
And he did play Hamilton at one point too, like the character Alexander Hamilton, because when there were rumors that the reason why he and his now ex-fiance, who played Peggy Skylar slash oh my gosh, the one
yeah.
that Alexander
Reynolds.
Hamilton, yes, Maria Reynolds,
Mariah
they were
Reynolds.
Mariah,
That's when Miss Mariah Reynolds walked into my life, she said.
because there was the whole thing of people blowing up going, there's literally an entire song sung to you about not cheating on. So yeah, but
Yeah.
he's a phenomenal actor. I will he is absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. So
Yeah, I'm curious as to who he could be playing, who they would introduce in Ironheart, because you would anticipate it's someone big that's kind of related to Iron Man, but like not so related to Iron Man that like you need him as a Tony Stark adversary.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Howard Stark to have a kid that he doesn't know about.
See,
Well,
neither would I.
There's Andre Sims, a former Stark employee that was foiled by Ironheart.
Yo, I really hope it's not a former Stark employee. We've had like four
It's gotta
villains
be
that are...
every single time.
Yo, I swear, I was half expecting like Thanos to be like, I was fired for being purple by Tony Stark.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. Alrighty. Well, I think that that about does it for our geek news today. And for those of you who don't know, upcoming, I think today, the day of the release, is Valentine's Day. And as geeks, we all enjoy cuddling up on the couch with our favorite geek things that we love and cherish, whether that be with people we love and cherish, or pets, or just items like food.
Yes.
So today, we just wanted to go over. Last year we did Valentines. This year we want to focus more on the positive side of Valentine's Day. For those of you who don't know, my full name is Brendan Valentine. So this is my day, and if you think about it, just send me some positive vibes. I own this day, and if you want good Valentine's days in the future, you should talk to me about it.
And his
But yeah,
girlfriend
so I
isn't
think-
going to yell at him about that later.
Huh?
Your girlfriend is definitely not going to yell at you about that comment later.
Why would she yell at me? I give her great Valentine's days. Excuse me. Anyway, so yeah, today we're just going to talk about like since Valentine's Day is about, usually about like couples and being together with those you care about. We wanted to talk about some duos in our favorite pieces of media that really make our hearts throb and give us that warm fluttery feeling in our chest. So, do y'all have some duos that you really love to see on screen? Their dynamic, whether it be just a will they, won't they, a full-on romance, or just something that's like a little bit more than platonic.
I have not a whole list. I have 5. I chose 5 because otherwise I couldn't think of more than that, really.
I mean, if you have more than that, go for it. But we can go one at a time.
So my first one I'm gonna go with is Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, Henry Turner and Karina Smith, who ends up Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann's son, Henry Turner, and Karina Smith, who, spoiler if you haven't seen that movie yet, turns out to be, oh my gosh, Barbosa, thank you. I was going Bootstraps and I was like, that's not the right one. That's Henry Turner's grandfather.
That would make that his aunt. Yeah.
But Barbosa's daughter is Karina. But like they make each other stronger, in my opinion. And like throughout the whole thing, like it's Henry stumbling over himself to be like, because he's trying to treat her like a regular lady, like how they treated ladies back then. But it's also like, your mother is Elizabeth Swann. There's no way that she treated you to think that women are poor and helpless and can't do anything on their own because she is the freaking pirate queen.
I was just saying, she was the pirate queen, so she can do
Like-
anything.
So the fact that Karina's has to remind him of like, yo, we can be strong, independent, smarter than you. You know, people too. That was one of my favorite because they both build each other up too.
Do we want to do like 1-1-1-1-1?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. I'll go next. I will say, so I'm not the biggest Doctor Who fan because I don't want to give people the false impression that I've sat down and watched it straight through. But I have watched a good amount of it, and one of my favorite couples is Rory and Amy from Matt Smith's Doctor, the 12th Doctor, 10th Doctor, 11th, no, 11, 12, 11th Doctor, because David Tennant is 10. Rory and Amy are two companions, and they're British. And I don't know if they're dating at the start, but their relationship goes really far. Although Amy kind of loves the Doctor, but Rory loves Amy. And there's a moment where Rory's consciousness is inside of a robot that is also a Roman centurion. And at one point he goes to the Stonehenge and he waits for 2,000 years until it's modern day so he can get back with Amy. And he's known as the man who waited. She's known as the woman who waited, and she waited like 60 years in one episode, but he waited 2,000. And I just think that it's pretty adorable, and they're really adorable.
Nice.
Oh, and Amy's played by Gillen, Nebula from
Oh yeah.
Marvel.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
okay.
she's great to watch too.
That's nice.
Well, I think you both missed out on the absolute best couple duo in all of geek media. That would be Kylo Ren and Rey. I'm completely messing with you. I hate that
I was
relationship.
like,
Yeah, your faces were like, oh, I really don't want to have to sit through this explanation, so I could not drag that out any longer. But yeah, no, I'm not a fan of that one. But one recently that I've liked a lot, and it's not inherently romantic, but it is like the epitome of like friendship, in my opinion, and that's Thena and Gilgamesh from Eternals.
Aw.
And I really liked that. Like I don't think it was like platonic, but they definitely like loved each other as much as they could. And the way like Gilgamesh looked after Thena, and the way like Thena appreciated that relationship throughout that like whole time that he was helping her with Mind Weary. I don't know that the thing
Thousands of
about
years. No, hundreds of years.
hundreds of years, but I don't know the way Eternals handled like a lot of relationships I thought was really cool. I love Festus as well, like someone that's like
Yep.
contributed to like all these like technological advancements, but then also all this destruction that he like despises himself for, able to like settle down and have a family was really nice. But in Eternals, Thena and Gilgamesh, I think if you're not the type of person to be in like a relationship but are looking for like, or you know, have like the idea that I really want a good friend like this, and I don't know, I feel like that they're a pretty good standard,
I felt
an
like
impossible
they were-
standard.
Yeah,
But-
I felt like they were aromantic in a way too, of like
Yeah.
they care about each other, but it doesn't have to be that romantic, and they
Yeah.
neither
They
one.
love
just
each other,
felt-
and it doesn't have to be a physical love. It can.
Yeah.
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 Or like Hope said, even a romantic love, because I felt like they were just really good friends.
So I'm gonna go off really quickly. I was walking to class on Wednesday, and I saw someone on campus who looked like Sprite, but with like blue hair, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh, Sprite is at CMU!"
Sprite made it to college.
Way to go, Sprite.
Well, I mean, Kingo did send her to school, so
All right. Well, so going on to my second one is I'm going with the movie Dumplin', which is also a book, but I will be honest, I haven't read the book yet. But I saw the movie on Netflix, and Willow Dean, the main character, and then Bo, their relationship, like the way the movie portrayed it was especially like for someone who doesn't always have the greatest self-confidence, like that was really nice because Willow Dean, she goes through and she acts all confident in everything, but like the minute that Bo is like, hey, I really do like you, she gets all nervous and is like, wait, but there are these things about me. And then he's like, no, like seriously, just like I like you for you. And is like really supportive of her and everything she's trying to do, and like just her as a person too, and not like he doesn't make it about her weight or anything. And I really like that because like he is the hot guy in the movie. I don't know why I put air quotes because he literally is like the hot guy that every girl is flirting with. Um, but yeah, I really like that relationship just because it was one of those that you don't normally see in movies at all. Just between like the really fit guy and then the overweight girl, you know. It's so it's nice to have that.
That's good. All right. So I have a lot. I grabbed a lot of them. Some of these aren't you said screen, but I also grabbed some from books. So I'm going to my list. All right. One relationship that I really love is it takes a while to set up, but is the relationship between Simon Petrikov and Betty from Adventure Time. And I suppose there will be some spoilers for Adventure Time following, because basically Simon Petrikov is the Ice King, who he was a scientist that basically found this crown that made him go crazy and also made him immortal, and he lived for the next few thousand years, and that's where Adventure Time takes place, is the far future. But Betty went missing one day, and he like can't find her, and he kind of went crazy because he called her his princess, and that's like why Ice King kidnaps princesses, is because that little part of his brain that's still connected to his love, his princess, is still there. Not justifying kidnapping at all, but that happens. But then you find out in one episode they like go back in time to see Betty, like he does, and he just said, I just want to say goodbye because I never saw you again. And she's like, I see. Well, I think you never saw me again because I'm going to go with you right now. And she like jumps into the future with him, which means that, I don't know, it'd be like your future self stealing your girlfriend, which is pretty weird. But then she gets magic and goes crazy, and this relationship is really odd because they're both crazy, but she's trying to save him and cure him from being the Ice King. And then in the last episode, she does save him from that, but at a pretty detrimental cost. And it's really sad, but it's also really loving. And it's kind of just nice to see that over these thousands of years, these two characters were able to find each other, and she was able to save him.
Mm-hmm. I love that. One of if you look at my background, if you're watching on video, one of my favorite ones as well is Beast Boy and Raven from the original Teen Titans show. They never like actually like date, but he always like flirts with her, and there's like that definitely kind of that relationship between the two of them. And I love that like dynamic of like he's just all goofy and silly and she's super serious. It kind of mirrors the relationship of Andy and April in Parks and Rec, if you're familiar with that. It's very similar in that dynamic. But yeah, I mean, it's a little more explicit about it in like Teen Titans Go. And I don't think they've really done this in Titans because I think they're too young.
They definitely have a stronger relationship between the two of them. I mean, Raven also has a strong relationship with Dick Grayson, but like you can definitely tell like Beast Boy and Raven would like love to just have each other, even as like just making sure that the other one is perfectly okay or like, you know, safe or whatever. Like,
and I haven't watched Young Justice season 4 yet, but I mean, I don't know if Raven's in Young Justice, but Beast Boy's in Young Justice, so that could have evolved in there too. So I love those two. They're very fun. They're very cute. And they don't feel like as weirdly forced and central like to like as like the story as Robin and Starfire do. Which like that's the one as a kid you root for, and then as an adult you're like, no, I like Beast Boy and Raven.
I'm definitely rooting for Beast Boy and Goth Girlfriend.
Yes.
Especially because like there are moments where you can tell that she kind of likes him, and then she gets kind of upset when he's like doing stuff with Tara.
Oh yeah, for
Tara.
sure. And then
That
I
whole
wanted
plot line, yeah.
I wanted the season 6 of that show so we could figure out what happened with Tara.
And Beast Boy was my favorite character, and I kind of like really liked that the last episode was kind of about him. Like it like the show ended with like, well, I mean,
The
obviously
whole
not including
last
the movie.
season was Beast Boy's season because like
Yeah,
each season kind of had like a villain that centered around one of the characters, except we never got a Starfire one
her sister
because it was,
kind of, but not really.
but that wasn't a whole season.
Yeah,
Like we had Robin for the first two, and then Cyborg for three, Raven for four, and Beast Boy for five. So I wish we would have got a season 6, but oh well. There were rumors we were going to get it, but I haven't seen anything about it recently.
All right. Well, to go on from that, I'm going to go with probably like crime dramas favorite ship and couple on TV with Tiva, Tony and Ziva on NCIS, the main NCIS, not any of the spin-offs. And like they never really got together during the season while they were both like on the show, but you could definitely tell that there were times that it was like, oh yeah, we didn't do anything in this, but like they were also super protective of each other, and like McGee is completely clueless and even was clueless after the fact too. When everything came out, like, oh, Tony and Ziva, yeah, a kid together. Um but which Tali is absolutely adorable, and I wish that there were more stuff with the three of them, but that's up to the actors. But hey, maybe with Micah Weatherly not being on Bull anymore. But they are also like throughout the series too, they're just like super flirty, but also like that friendship of like just being there and being bonded as a team, like team members and everything too. And it's not like over the top or anything. Like it's just that subtle, like, just get together already. Like we're rooting for you. Like, oh my gosh, would you just do the thing? But I really like that they waited until like both the characters were off the show to be like, oh, by the way, they're a thing. To like have that fully come out. Because that was just like a really nice way of ending their character arcs, in my opinion, was like, let's just, bring them back together and have that NCIS not be the thing that's keeping them together. But yeah.
yeah. My next one is probably one of the first like real fan relationships that I was like really rooting for, because it started in elementary school, and that is that of Percy Jackson and Annabeth Chase from Percy Jackson.
Yes. Seaweed Brain and shoot, what was her nickname? It was Seaweed Brain and
something. It's been a while. This calls for a reread. So I obviously Rick Riordan does a great job in the first 5 books at kind of like making the main character Percy a very relatable person. You read the books and you're like, wow, I relate to this person. Did you find the nickname?
Yeah, Seaweed Brain and Wise Girl.
Yes, Wise Girl. Does not roll off the tongue, but that's all right. I love them. For those of you that for some reason don't know, Percy Jackson is from Percy Jackson. He's a demigod, son of Poseidon. Annabeth is a daughter of Athena. And for the first 5 books, there's this kind of like strong bond with their friends, but also Percy likes her and she kind of likes him. And she also kind of likes Luke Castellan. All this stuff goes on, but they, and then Percy dates Rachel Dare. And then they end up getting together and it's great. But what I really love is because you don't always see in like films, they usually like end on characters like getting in a relationship, or TV shows, it's like they end together. Obviously not The Office. We got to see Jim and Pam's marriage for a large part of it. But in Percy Jackson, there's the Heroes of Olympus story, which takes the next 5 books or so, 5 or 6 books. And you see them both as main characters, and you kind of see them like dating through all these like years again. And my favorite book of all of Riordan's books is the House of Hades story, which follows Percy and Annabeth as they go down to the depths of Tartarus. They fall at the end of the previous book, and it's like the entire book they're there. And I really love reading about it because it's just about two people that boyfriend and girlfriend that have been dating for a while, and they're like got each other's backs, and they're like surviving, and they have to think what each other thinks, and it's just so cool. Such a cool story.
Like my favorite moment between the two of them that was like you knew that they were just gonna end up together was when Annabeth was holding
this guy
and Percy was like, get out, and just like took over for her, and then they were able to trick Atlas back into
and then they had matching white locks of hair because it drained the hair color. So good. And then I have an honorable mention from the same world, and that is of Leo and Calypso from the Heroes of Olympus, who Calypso she fell in love with Percy, but then he didn't stay for her because he had to get back, not only to save the world, but also because he loved Annabeth. But Leo found Calypso, and she did not want to be with him, but they ended up falling in love anyways, and then they got together, and it's beautiful. Spoiler alert.
Okay, I might just be making this up, but Talia and Percy, wasn't that a thing for all of like 2 seconds before Talia was like, nah, you love Annabeth.
I'm gonna be 16. I'm gonna be 15 forever. I don't know. There was sparks, but that's because she's the daughter of Zeus and she hit him with lightning.
There's that. But alrighty. Well, my next one, if either of you have played the Mass Effect series, is Edie and Joker. Yes. For those of you who don't know, Joker is the pilot of your ship, the Normandy. He's voiced by Seth Green.
Yeah.
Yes. And Edie is the AI that the ship gets in the second game. And in the second game, she's just a disembodied voice. And like Joker really hates her because he's like, I can't fly my ship. She's trying to fly my ship. But then in the third game, she gets like a body, so she can like move around and stuff. So
she feminine body.
Yes, it is a very, very sexualized feminine body. But then she can like move around with her and stuff. And by the end of the second game, her and like Joker have become friends. But then by the third game, they're in like a weird romantic relationship. And if you choose the synthesis ending of Mass Effect 3, which means synthetic life and organic life, you send out this electromagnetic pulse that changes everyone's biology, so everyone is now both organic and synthetic, and then they get their happy ending. Or you choose the destroy ending and kill Edie, and Joker is left without a girlfriend.
And it's a really sad dichotomy too, because Joker has like the bone thing, right? He's got weak bones, and she's
he has brittle bone disease, and she's full on machine. I don't know. I just love the dynamic because Joker gets his nickname Joker because like that's all he does is joke around. And I think the only person we ever see him like you have a serious conversation with him is when he's talking about Edie in the game. And I really like the character development of like I hate this AI because there's a lot of like prejudice in the Mass Effect universe against AI specifically, but also like between alien species. So seeing that be like overcome in the last game, where the last game is like we need to overcome our like interspecies prejudice and not just form temporary alliances, but more of a
Joker
permanent
put on
one.
Glasses and said, "I got this."
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna do the robot, quite literally. So, that's for those of you who haven't played the game, that's a conversation that you can have with Joker. Is he kind of beats around the bush, but he's like, should I have sex with this robot? And you can tell him yes or no.
I'm rooting for him every time.
Oh, I was rooting for him. I told him go for it. If you tell him yes, the next time you see him in that bar, he says, I have aches and pains.
Not that, though.
Oh, it's so funny. It's a good clip from that game.
All right. So my next one. So Brendan flipped the script and went with romantic versus just like platonic, possibly more. I'm going back to the NCIS universe. Tony, McGee and Abby are like my second favorite on the show. Just because like they're best friends, but also like you're like, nah, you dated. And also like the joke about McGee sleeping in the coffin with Abby. And honest, like they get each other so well, but in my opinion, it's definitely Delilah and McGee that are the better fit, especially when they have arguments in binary code. And they're just shouting 111 whatever, at each other, and you're just like, what are you saying? Speak English. But like McGee and Abby are definitely like, they're not the brother sister level of like closeness. They're definitely like that best friend that like everything about, and but it's not necessary, and you love them, kind of like Thena and
Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh, thank you. Where like they definitely took care of each other and like definitely cared about each other and loved each other in one form. And that's McGee and Abby. Even if they did actually love each other too at one point, but they definitely are like a good platonic duo that could completely wreck your life, and all just by pressing a button on a computer keyboard. So yeah.
We love that. Okay. I don't know how many more we're doing because I have a giant list now, so I could keep going
I
forever.
think
I have a couple
we can
more.
each do two more. Except Hope you just did one.
I have
So
two more after that, but
okay.
that's on my list.
I have a couple more. I know Isaac, you have a couple more. So I think
Isaac,
we'll finish this round, do one more, and then rapid fire some honorable mentions.
Okay. Wait, didn't I start though?
Oh, I started.
No, Hope started.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So oh man, I have so many. I'll pick my next one. I'm gonna go with Aragorn and Arwen, of course. I thought about it, and obviously there's only like 4 girls in Lord of the Rings, and only like 2 of them get in relationships. Not that you have to be a girl or a guy to get in a relationship. That's not what I'm saying.
But at the time that Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings, heterosexual relationships would have been the only ones that would have succeeded.
They were the norm. That's what I'll say.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. But Aragorn and Arwen are Aragorn is one of the main characters. Arwen, he's a human. He is technically in the Dunedain, who is in the line of Numenorians who have extended life. So he can live a little bit longer than a human. His ancestors could live to be like 600. At the time of Lord of the Rings, he's 87. Arwen is an elf who technically is his foster father's daughter, which is kind of weird, but she is like thousands of years old, and they fall in love. And
pause really quick.
Yes.
Does Arwen have a beard?
Does Arwen have a beard?
Is that the one who's the elf?
She doesn't have a beard.
Okay, because like people are getting annoyed that like
that's a dwarf. The dwarves have beards.
Okay.
And the dwarf for the new Amazon show has sideburns. If you light it up. But no, Arwen, elves actually don't have facial hair until they get really old, which is Círdan the Shipwright is the only known elf with a beard. Google it, fans. He's a fantastic character. But basically, Arwen is a half elf in the sense that she gets the choice to pick a mortal life or an immortal life, just like her father Elrond, who chose to be an elf, which means immortal, and his brother Elros chose to be a human, immortal. And then Elros's line actually is what Aragorn's in, so they're all related, but they fall in love and they end up getting married, and Arwen willingly gives up her immortality to be with Aragorn. And it's quite the thing, because elves can live forever. It's not like they live a long time. They live until the earth dies, essentially. And she gave that up to be with Aragorn, and she has a kid with him, and it's great. And it's very reminiscent of Aragorn's ancestors, Beren and Luthien, who are from the Silmarillion, where Beren is a human and Luthien is an elf, and they fall in love, and she chooses to give up her mortality as well. But it's beautiful, beautiful tale, and I love it.
I just saw a TikTok today that was I just had his name. Who plays Aragorn? He also plays
Viggo Mortensen.
Wait, what?
Aragorn?
Trying to remember. Okay, that's not who I was thinking of.
Are you thinking about Orlando Bloom?
I am thinking about Orlando Bloom. Who does he play?
He plays Legolas.
Legolas. Darn it. Never mind. My comment is
What were you gonna say? What was it?
There
I
was a
feel like I've
TikTok.
seen this title.
No, he was. Yeah, I mean, okay. Yes, he plays Legolas, and I saw TikTok today. It says, "Yeah, that was one of your biggest roles. Can you still speak Elvish?" And he could still speak Elvish, and I thought it was very fun.
Not the TikTok that I saw. I don't.
That is the TikTok I saw. All righty. Well, my next one, I'm gonna have you guess which one I picked by giving you a hint. So the dude in this relationship, biggest simp in all of media.
Ducky from 16 Candles.
No, but good
You
guess.
said Ducky, and I immediately went NCIS. Lucifer.
Lucifer Morningstar?
Yeah, he's a simp for Chloe. Come on.
A simp.
But there is a bigger simp, and that would be Wesley and Buttercup from The
No!
Princess Bride.
That was gonna be my next one. Oh, okay. you
Was
can
it,
say
or are
he's a
you
simp,
just
but
saying that?
He also threatens to hit her at one point. So
I mean, but yes, he shoves her. She shoves him down a hill, and he just goes, "As you wish."
No, I'm so that was my
She's
next
so
one.
mean to him,
Okay,
but
go
he's
ahead.
just like, "Yes, I will do what you want,
As you wish.
as you wish." It is a weird dynamic, but I really like the Buttercup and Wesley dynamic from the book because they're just so sassy.
Yeah.
Especially Buttercup,
Yeah.
she's like basically like, "Why haven't you rescued me sooner? You knew I didn't want to be here." And he's like, "I literally died." Except he doesn't say that. He's like, "You know what? You're right.
I'm sorry.
I'm
I
sorry
also
I
got captured
died.
by pirates and became their leader. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry."
See, I still see Wesley as the evil Uncle King in Ella Enchanted.
Ella
so-
Enchanted. Oh
Fair.
man.
I love Wesley. That's a good movie, Princess Bride. If you haven't read the book, read the book. It is. If you love the movie, you'll also love the book. The book is very, very
It's
fun.
not one
It's
of those
very,
ones where you won't like one if you read the other or if you do the other. They're both great, both written by same guy.
yeah, and they're also very different. Like they're similar, like
Yeah.
main plot points, but like very different story structure.
Yes, 100%.
So yeah, all right. Last round before our rapid fire. Go for it, Hope.
All right, I'm going with SAS Rise of the Black Swan, which is on Netflix, and really good movie, by the way. But so the characters, Tom Buckingham, which is played by Sam, I'm gonna say his last name wrong because it's Scottish, Hogan, I think, who's also in Outlander, and Dr. Sophie Hart, because Tom Buckingham, I don't remember, I think it's sociopath, whichever diagnosis it is, can't actually like feel emotions. So like he doesn't actually know what love feels like he just doesn't know how to express it and like what exactly like the point of it is. And the whole point of the movie too is like the Rise of the Black Swan, which is Ruby Rose's character, and she's like, no, you're exactly like me and you should join my side. And then he's like, nah, I love Sophie, so but like he actually does love her, and spoiler, he starts crying when she turns him down, when Sophie turns him down for the marriage proposal, and she's like, oh shoot, dang, all right, so you are actually like changing and actually in love with me. And like the fact that he's able to finally express that just for her, and that she by the end of the movie understands like why he can't express love like she can and why he's different and everything. Just the fact that like they both start to understand each other and then are able to fully communicate by the end is just amazing, and I really liked that too. So
Oh, I love that. Not saying that love can change mental health,
no,
but
but like
you
when
still
you
love
truly,
people
yeah,
no matter what. Yeah.
and like the fact that like he realizes like I can't go on in my life without her like in it, like that's more what it is than like his love is not the same as her love, or like what we might think of as love. It's different, and when he's able to express like his sadness about it and his grief about it, that's when she's like, okay, nope, I understand how you feel emotions now and how you express them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, what is the rapid fire gonna be?
Oh, we're just gonna say him without the big long explanation.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Then I will say with recommendation from my girlfriend who told me, and I said that's true. Kermit and Miss Piggy. Um, love them. If you've seen the original Muppet movie, I believe he sees her singing is when he first finds out about her. But they fall in love. But I also count this as any time that they play other characters as well, such as the characters in Muppet Christmas Carol. They play Bob Cratchit and his wife. They're also.
I thought you were going Muppet Wizard of Oz.
I could, but I wasn't gonna go there yet. Or Muppet Treasure Island, in which case he plays Captain Arrow, I believe. No, I forgot who he plays. He's the captain. I forgot his name. And then Miss Piggy is a female version of a character who was stranded on the island, but they fall in love anyways. It's great. I love those two. Pig and a Frog. It's beautiful.
Didn't they recently get a divorce or something?
They in the new, I don't know, in one of the newer Muppet movies, they like stopped seeing each other, but then they got back together.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Nice.
I wish them hope. Brendan.
Alrighty. Well, my last one officially is the MCU's Captain America and Peggy Carter. Most people do not like Cap's, or I guess not most people, but a lot of people don't like Cap's ending because they feel like he abandoned his present time. I don't feel that way. I feel like Cap finally acknowledged that that is what he wanted and was not able to escape it, and sacrificed the life that he had made, which was a significant one because he'd gone through all the character development to get back the old life that he'd had. Now that and I just really appreciate that because you give up everything for the one that you love. In this case, quite literally, not living throughout the rest of like the time period that you have.
Yeah, not having modern medicine.
Yes, knowing everything that's bad that's going to happen and not being able to do anything to stop it.
Realized that you made out with your niece that I still have no idea how it happened because I'm like, Peggy Carter, you had a brother. He died. As far as I'm aware, he did not marry. So how the heck did Sharon happen? I am confused.
We'll find out in the next one. No, I'm just
kidding.
But I
think that's a separate timeline.
I feel like that is too. But I also really like that one just because, like, I mean, I'm upset because he left Bucky when like Bucky just came back and had to readjust and everything, and I was like, I'm not the happiest with that, but I understand why Cap did it, and I honestly loved that was the ending for Cap for Steve Rogers because like he went through all of this. He literally like, yeah, okay, he had just met her and whatever, but also he spent a war with her. Like they've kind of formed strong bonds.
They gotta get
that was his formative moments were in World War II.
Yeah.
So as much as he had a lot of things going on with the Avengers in that time, like he wanted to go back to the time period that was his origin story.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, all right, rapid fire. Any more?
Yes.
Honorable mentions.
Will and Layla from Sky High.
Oh, that's a good one. Marshall and Lily from How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Personally, I should have mentioned this earlier with Edie and Joker, but Commander Shepard and literally whoever you pick, because you get to choose your own adventure and the type of person that you think your character would do best with in Mass Effect.
What's her face? The girl in the suit. That's starts with a T.
In the suit? Oh, Tali.
Tali. She's kind. Sorry.
Tali is very nice. I never romanced Tali because she was a friend. I always romanced Liara.
Yeah.
And if I played as female Shepard, it was Thane because Thane's cool.
Thane's so cool. All right. Hope.
Another rapid fire would be from Grey's Anatomy, Alex and Joe.
All right. Lupin and Tonks.
Yes.
You took my other one. I should have said that one first. Yes, Lupin and Tonks. ObiWan and Satin, even though they're not like an item, I love like that dynamic they have, and like there's an episode in Clone Wars. How far in Clone Wars are you?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know everything that happens in Clone Wars.
Okay. Well, there's an episode where Obi-Wan fakes his death, and you see Satine at his funeral, and then there's an episode where Satine actually dies, and you see how they both react to their potential death. However, we never see the fallout of like how Satine was like, Obi-Wan, how the hell, what? You not dead? Like, we never see that fallout. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, my bad. Keep going.
From Bones, Hodgins and Angela.
Wally and Eve from Wally.
Oh, I'm out. Those are all
You're
the ones
out?
I put. Yeah, I'm out.
I keep going.
I
Go.
had a couple more. So this one is strictly fan based. Not actually like canon or anything, but Hermione and Draco.
No, that doesn't. No, that does not. No, 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 no. Hope, take that back.
No,
No,
Hermione and Draco aren't a good fit.
I think they would have been.
No.
Well, if you read The Cursed Child, Ron and Hermione weren't that great a fit apparently anyway. So anything is possible.
Yeah,
no,
but
I mean,
Draco
watch,
is like a slimy piece of garbage. I don't care what
That's
anyone
because
says.
of his father.
Yeah,
Who
and
she
he
is
followed
he
his
breaks that.
father's. No, he does not.
Yes, he does.
He gets better. If you watch a Harry Potter musical, Draco is in love with Hermione in that, and there's a great duet song between Draco and Ron called "Granger Danger." Singing it the other day in the car. Sokka and Suki from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, if we're going
I
Avatar,
love
Korra
that.
and Asami.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here. I'm going back to Harry Potter, and I promise you won't hate this one.
Dobby and
Molly,
the sock.
Molly and Arthur Weasley.
Goals,
Oh.
relationship goals.
It's a real will they won't they, you know?
Exactly.
Jack and
more Harry
Sally
Potter. Luna Lovegood and herself.
and Newt Scamander's grandson, Rolf Scamander.
Wait, really? That's who she ends up with? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
I thought
What?
she was related to Newt Scamander.
She is after she gets married.
I thought that there was something.
And they have
to-
two kids that have really it's like Lorcan and like it's two names that mean moon. You already said Andy Dwyer and April Lovegate. Winston and Allie from New Girl.
No, Winston's so cringy.
Winston's my favorite character.
Dude,
Winston
okay,
and
I love
Nick.
Winston in the first like 4 seasons, and then as soon as he gets the cat, he makes me so uncomfy.
He gets the
Okay,
cat
he
before
was
that, I
actually
think.
allergic to the cat, though. Like the actor
Wait, like
was
the
actually
actor?
allergic to the cat.
Lamorne. Oh. No, I love Winston. The thing is, there's a large chunk where they like had no idea where they were going with his character. Like everyone has all these stories, and he's going nowhere. And then when he becomes a cop, it gets right back on track. And he finds Allie, and they fall in love.
Although the weird part about, sorry, tangent, but like Allie shows up, like she's in New Girl, and New Girl is a crossover with Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But the same actress that plays Allie is Jake Peralta's sister
Yeah.
in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah. Well, also the guy that plays Coach was also Jake's like not childhood, but like best friend in the academy who
Yes.
tries to Donkey Kong hit him. So people look like each other.
But the thing is, like, Coach went to New York in New Girl, so like
So
odds they run into each other.
He's actually a dirty cop.
He's living this double life. That's where he was.
My next rapid fire from NCIS Hawaii is Captain Joe Milius and Vanessa Lachey's character Jane Tennant.
Nice.
I don't know who they are, but that's all right. I've only seen so much NCIS, and I haven't seen NCIS Hawaii. Maybe I'll throw one out that you guys might not know. Uncle Hub and Jasmine from Secondhand Lions.
Oh,
I don't know.
I haven't seen Secondhand Lions. Is that a book?
Been a while.
Did I just say C?
No, it's a movie.
It's a movie.
Uncle Hub, I know this is rapid fire, but basically it's about a a kid played by Haley Joel Osment gets sent by his bad mom to live with his like great uncles, and then hopefully try and find out where all their money is, because they actually had a bunch of money. And rumor has it that they're like old bank robbers. But the movie is also a telling of basically how they got to where they are, and that Uncle Hub was in love with a girl named Jasmine, and it's like this great moment, and you see all these flashbacks where he like fights to save her life from this evil sheik. It's beautiful, and there's a lion in the film, and they name it Jasmine.
Yes.
Warms my heart. And Michael Caine plays the other uncle, so it's great.
Oh, I have another one. Oliver Queen and Felicity Smoke from Arrow.
Yep. High School Musical, and it doesn't happen until High School Musical 3, but Sharpay and Zeke.
Creme brulee, dude.
Yes.
Yes.
Yo,
The
I
moment
tried
we were
making creme
waiting
brulee
for.
these past few weeks. It's not that easy. I mess it up
No.
in little ways, a little,
Yeah.
just every time.
Love creme brulee.
Very good when you do it right.
So let's see. I don't know if you guys have also seen the movie Stranger Than Fiction, but I'm gonna say Harold Crick and Anna Pascal. Harold Crick is played by Will Ferrell. Anna Pascal is played by Gyllenhaal, Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Oh, yeah.
And they're adorable.
All right. Princess Diaries 2, Mia Thermopolis, and Nicholas Devereaux.
Oh man, we're pulling a lot of them out. Let's see. I some of them here we already said. Sam walks all the way to Mordor, and when they're on the mountain after spoiler alert, after they throw the ring in, he's thinking about Rosie, and he's like, if I'd married anyone, it would have been her. And then he marries her and has 13 kids.
I think this is gonna be my final one. The Originals, which is a spinoff of the Vampire Diaries, Haley and Elijah.
All right. Is that the end of the rapid fire?
You're
I
the
think
last
so.
I'll leave it on Sam and Rosie.
one. Okay.
Nice.
I don't care about anyone else.
Nice. Alrighty. Well, as always here on Raving Geeks, we like to end with some recommendations for our viewers, whether that be movies, video games, comics, or anything else geeky. So, which one of you has a recommendation for us?
Got two. So the first one is on Disney Plus, Jungle Cruise with Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson. Another guy that my dad was like, "Oh, here's this random fact," and now I don't remember it. But that was a fantastic movie. Lots of laughs. Almost cried at a couple points. Also, I love the brother in the movie. He's adorable. And my second one is on Amazon Prime Video, Reacher with Alan Richardson, who played Aquaman in Smallville. He was on Titans as Hawk, and he's been on a bunch of other things. And apparently had to
Plays a lot of
actually,
people.
yeah, he is very good. He's a very diverse actor. He apparently had to add like 30 pounds. And I don't know if it was just like muscle or just in general. But he's a big dude, both in like out. But at the very beginning, the first episode, they have his character get off a Greyhound bus. And if you think of how tall up from the ground the windows are, Alan Richardson's head hits like the bottom of the window. He is very tall. But yeah, that show is very good on like having the dramatic moments, but also having the moments where you're just sitting there laughing too.
Nice.
Let's see, Alan Richardson, right?
Yeah.
He's also in, I believe he's in an episode of New Girl.
I think so.
As a very interesting man, who is an artist, and
He
he's
was
good
also
at everything.
in Catching Fire as Gloss.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
And he was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as one of the turtles. So,
All right, my recommendation will be just because we talked about it, I think people should go back if they haven't and read Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus. I still have to read The Trials of Apollo. I've read the first book, but I have a few more, but I haven't read them yet.
Have you
Those
also
are
gotten
really
to
fun.
the Norse mythology ones?
Yeah, I'm sort of summer. I have the first one, but I haven't read through them
King
all.
Chronicles are also good, the Egyptian ones.
Yes.
King Chronicles are all right. No, Riordan, I love him. He's so good. And then I will also recommend, since it's Valentines, the movie About Time, which I've recommended before. It's got Domhnall Gleeson, who plays Commander Hux.
And who else?
Bill Weasley.
Yes.
And it's about him and his family, and all the guys in their family have the power to travel in time, and it's so good.
He was in Peter Rabbit.
Yes, he was.
Yes,
and they
he
gave
was
him
also
brown
Peter
hair
Rabbit.
for no reason. They give a redhead brown hair, and they filled his eyebrows in with brown. And every time I see a commercial, I notice it.
And his father is also Mad Eye Moody.
Yes.
Which I found hilarious.
Gleason
That
and
is
Gleason.
very
And he got to say Mad Eye's dead, and he loved it.
Mine's also kind of a Harry Potter related one. I'm recommending the podcast Harry Potter and the Sacred Text, where they hyper analyze Harry Potter, but in like a talking about Harry Potter as like the way that Christians talk about the Bible, as like a way for like a teaching tool. It's very, very cool. Very fun podcast.
Ooh, wait, to tap onto that, there's also Wizard People Dear Readers is on YouTube, and it is basically it's the entire movie of Harry Potter, but someone has like made it really quiet and they voiced over it as if it's an audiobook. And it's only the first one, because I think if you try to do any more, you get in trouble with copyright. But it's called Wizard People Dear Readers, and the guy, it's ridiculous, but he gives the characters different names. Harry's still Harry. Snape's name is just Snake. Give it a look, and it's good. Hagar the Horrid is Hagrid.
Hagar the Hornet. What was, darn it, I had another recommendation for Valentine's Day. What is the name? It's a movie that I wanted to watch for a long time, and I watched and I liked it. Age of Adeline. It's on Hulu. I like the one a lot. Has Harrison Ford in it.
Yes.
I thought of one that's a good one for if you are single, but like also want to watch something that has some romance in it. My Spy with Dave Bautista.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's adorable. Like, it's mostly about his relationship with this little girl, but like there's also him with her mom, and it's adorable, and I loved it, and it was hilarious as well. So
nice. Alrighty, well, that is all we have for today. Thank you for joining us here on Raving Geeks. Make sure you leave a comment wherever you're listening from. We'd love to hear from you all, what you thought about today's episode or anything you want to hear us talk about in the future. Also, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter at Raving Geeks, as well as TikTok. And as always, I've been Brendan Valentine, along with my fellow co-hosts.
Hope Gooderl.
And I have been Isaac Hunter.
Stay geeky and have a great week, everyone. So long.